Yeah. Hey, 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 here's the wake-up call. Ooh, ooh, with Reverend Horace Sheffield. Rise up, wake up. Let the truth be told. The wake-up call.
Y'all stand up now. Come on, OGs. Get that blood flowing.
It's the wake-up call. Ooh. With Reverend Horace Sheffield. Rise up, wake up, wake up. Let the truth be told. The wake-up call.
I want to see some movement. He's got the head up. Look at that. No dance, no breakfast. All right, we're live on the corner of Grand River, Wyoming. We do this every single Saturday. I've been gone a lot. Just got back from across the pond over at Oxford Church and Social Change. Spent some time in Paris with my granddaughter. But I'm glad to be back welcoming my co-host, my classmate, Ed. You coming to church tomorrow? You know we're doing 71 and 72.
Man, be honest with you.
Yeah. Give me a quick answer because I got a lot of announcements.
I had the fire department on standby if I come in there.
All right. Okay. Ed Collins and, of course, Sabrina Athena, our co-host. With others are absent. They'll be back next week. Let's run through our announcements real quick. We got a lot of things going on. Get out to vote is today at between 9 and 5 on West Grand Boulevard. I believe the early voting will be there. There'll be entertainment and activities. We partner with the Detroit City Clerk and the Department of Elections to encourage people to vote. Make sure you vote. If you ain't voting, don't say nothing. Tell me about a single thing. Next. All right, so we created this platform. We've got our own platform. You know, we've been here and there, Event Noir, you name it. So every single thing we're doing is up on this platform now. You can scan that. We'll have it back up during the show. You know, we just had Earthquake on Wednesday. That was a great show. And, you know, everything is there. Next. All right, so, you know, African women, as our most black folks, we're forced into procedures we don't necessarily need. They make more money off of surgery than they do other things. Dr. Lippman, I convinced him to move here out of Atlanta. He's opening a center on Grand River up the street, and he's actually able to eliminate fibroids without surgery. American Medical Association has sanctioned that. He has women, Ed, who have had children. Uterine removal results in the inability to have children, a whole bunch of other problems. So we're having a town hall Monday at 6 p.m. at the Bridge Center. Please come out and participate in that. Next. So if you want to do dance, you got a church ministry or community ministry. This is Miss Roundtree. Her husband is Lynn Roundtree, a Grammy Award-winning trumpeter. Does all the smooth jazz cruises and everything else. So this is absolutely free. We invested in this. That's going to be Friday, August the 7th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm going to put some of y'all in here so we have the wake-up call dancers. Dropping it like it's not, okay? Next. All right, you know, Billy Paul, this building was given to us in 94 by Comerica. And Billy Paul did the first concert that enabled us to renovate this building with George Duke down at the Masonic Temple, friend of my dad's, and he supported this organization to the day he died. His wife is coming. I preached his funeral, and, you know, he's just a good friend, so we're honoring him. Detroit loves Billy Paul. Next. All these are on the apps. Okay, our next Detroit Talent Showcase, which is going to be aired on television. It's growing in popularity. If you want to have an opportunity to participate, no matter what the talent is, guy told me he had a 650-pound wife, but she was talented. He said, no, she wasn't talented. He was talented. I said, well, what do you do with her? He said, I stood her up with some help. Next. Annual Women's Conference addressing the opioid epidemic, mental illness, and trauma. This is going to be on August the 21st at the Bridge Center. Grateful and thankful for the sponsorship of D-Win along with Dabo. Absolutely free. There'll be a lot of providers there. Come and find out information to protect your mind. You don't let nobody walk through your mind. Isn't that right, Ed?
Hey, yours.
Mine is a terrible thing to waste.
Yours and yours alone.
And people be planting seeds in your garden of your mind. I can't tell how many people I have to pray for because of something somebody told them. Come to church every Sunday. Man, did you hear what Jesus said? No, but they heard what she said. You ain't going to keep going. So we're having our prostate awarenesses in September. This is a big issue. Jill and I are going to be doing a forum. I'm a prostate survivor. I had normal PSA to the day of my surgery. Literally, Margaret, the Holy Spirit spoke to me on the Jeffries Freeway, told me to go have another digital exam. My doctor said, you had the PSA. I said, I want a digital exam. Found something. Had just gotten married, and within 2 months of being married, I was diagnosed. I had my surgery within 2 weeks because I had an aggressive form. It was negligible, but it was found through the digital exams. There's a variety of additional exams besides the digital and the PSA now, which will help you find out. But we're going to actually come. We'll have gift cards if you get your test. So bring your man, bring your daddy, bring your brother, September 2nd. Next. All right, this is the men's conference, addressing mental health, stigma, foster brotherhood, and provide tools for healthy living. And that's on September 11th, Friday at the Bridge Center. Next. So this is how we're going to help men get tested. We got 2 dates. If you sign up and get a haircut, you get your test, you get a free haircut. This is Ashley, the barber. She's actually my personal barber. She's bringing 3 other beautiful African-American females, okay? And she told me to tell you she's gonna cut your head, and I gave you some. Anyway, you know me, I like to have fun.
Give you some shades.
All right, right? And there go the 2 bald-head, handsome men of Detroit right there, Gerald Smith and I, and we're having a community town hall. By the way, Bayer Aspirin, bless them, have given us a decent grant to be able to make this happen. That's going to be on September 14th on a Monday, and you can certainly sign up for that. But please come out. We're going to be working very hard to get men out to hear about the new ways of detecting this to go beyond the digital exam and the PSA. Next. All right, now this is a night. So this is a guy named Patrick Lamb, who was the musical director of Sade. And a lot of her albums, you hear him on. She's also worked with some additional people. This is, can you sit back a little bit? This is Candace Pretty String Smith out of Atlanta. You know, I love violinists. We got Azima coming, but that's on Wednesday. Where's it? October 7th. Next, almost done. You missed one. I don't know what happened to Azima. She was in September, but we're bringing my favorite group back, Russell Tompkins and the New Stylistics, on November 11th. That's going to be at the Bridge Center. And you don't have, ask her, does she have eczema? If not, we'll give it to her. She can cue it up later. All right, let's do our, she has it? Okay, let's do our reads.
60 seconds. Thank you very kindly. Let's get into this voting information. This is Detroit City Clerk Janice M. Winfrey reminding you that gubernatorial primary is scheduled for Tuesday, August 4th. That's next Tuesday. And your vote matters now more than ever. We will be nominating candidates in the offices of governor, U.S. Congress, and other state and local offices. If you're voting absentee, return your ballot right away, mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. You can vote early Saturday, July 25th through Sunday, August 2nd at any of our 8 early vote centers from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or you can vote on Election Day at your polling place from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can ride the DDOT buses for free to the polls. That's free. Come to our Get Out to Vote block party today, Saturday, July 25th at 2978 West Grand Boulevard from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to kick off early voting. For more information, visit detroitmi.gov/elections or call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Our future is in your hands.
All right, we're glad to have a special guest with us. I have a long history with United Automobile Workers. And this is Margaret Mock, who is the Secretary Treasurer, one of the highest ranking officials in the UAW. My father, this is an interesting story. I have the picture of the Ford vehicle with the sound system on it, with my father urging black workers, to come out of the foundry at Ford's during the Ford strike. And of course, my grandfather was a foreman inside who wasn't coming out because he thought that Henry Ford was the second coming of Jesus Christ. But this whole history of Ford Motor Company and the UAW, even in terms of what's happened here in the city of Detroit, is so phenomenal, and so blessed to have you here with us. Go ahead, Seth. Good morning.
You. Thank you for having me. It's truly an honor and a privilege to
Yeah.
be sitting here with you in this historic building.
Yeah,
It
this is
carries
not
a
your
lot of
first
history.
time, by the way.
No, it is not my first time being here.
Yeah, so we
As a
appreciate.
matter of fact, I was here many years ago when it was Comerica Bank.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
The Manufacturers Bank.
No,
as
it
well.
was it was Bank of the Commonwealth,
That's it. Yes.
and then they
Yes.
merged with Manufacturers, became Comerica. Now it's Fifth Third, by the way. Oh well.
Okay.
But we got this building in '94, and dedicated it in honor of my dad. So, tell us about how you got involved in. Were you a Ford employee? Where do you come from?
So I started in 1994 at the Detroit Axle plant, Chrysler.
Okay.
And my son's paternal grandmother, she is the one that got the application and said, hey, I need you to make sure my grandson is taken care of. So she got the application for me. I applied. And then I think maybe some months later, they called me up. And she told me to get involved in the union. Whatever you do, you go to your union meetings and you stay involved. So day one, I went into the Chrysler building for orientation. Day two, I was at the local union asking, what can I do? How can I be of service? And they welcomed me with open arms.
Good.
And here I am today.
Outstanding. So, I have trade union background, TULC, and we, CBTU, NALC. So, real quickly, where are we with the UAW? I think when I was, maybe my numbers are wrong, but I think at one point there were almost 2 million workers. Now you're down to what, 300,000 or 600,000?
400,000, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Give or take a few.
Yeah.
We're trying to build it back up.
Yeah, and you guys represent not only folks who are in the auto plants, but also some related entities. And
Higher ed.
Yeah.
We also.
That Wayne State, right?
Wayne
Yeah,
mhm,
okay.
Yes. Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Blue Care Network. We represent them. As a matter of fact, I'm the director over that department.
Okay.
We represent a lot of the IPS plants, which, in my opinion, IPS plants are extremely important to what we do in the auto industry.
Okay. All right. Sabrina?
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Mock. So I want to know more about your tenure when you started. You said in 94.
In 94.
And so how long did you work at the plant and before you became the secretary treasurer?
I've been working at the plant, let me see. I have 32 years seniority. So before I became secretary treasurer, I worked at the plant that entire time.
Wow.
Yes.
And so at what point?
Started
in
on
your
the bottom,
tenure-
now she's on the top. You say that again. Started on the bottom, now she's on the top.
Mhm.
And that's a constitutional position, you need to understand. She has certain duties. We won't really get into how people try to abrogate and subjugate and all of that, because she's been in a real fight for her to be able to do what she's been elected according to the UAW Constitution to do. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So you've been there for 34 years and you've seen a lot go on in these years. And I mean, economy changes, et cetera, et cetera. What does it mean to you? And what does it mean to become the first Black woman secretary treasurer of the UAW International?
To me, that means a lot. I've been there a member for 32 years, but just to have my fellow union members, fellow women, vote me in, it was heartfelt. I felt it in my heart. And with that comes great responsibility. So when I came under attack for trying to do my job, I didn't want to let the members down that voted me in. So it goes straight to the heart to just be elected by tens of thousands of members. I don't even know tens of thousands of people personally, but for them to vote me in, it speaks volumes especially with it being the first ever direct election. So the members were able to vote us in. It used to be the system where the delegates voted in the International Executive Board members.
And that was all changed under the mandate of what you guys going through in the court and the whole 9 yards.
Consent decree,
Yep.
yes.
But so you're there because the people put you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
people put me
otherwise, anyway, we're glad you're there.
I'm glad to be there.
Yeah, I'm glad you're there, and we're glad that you do all the things that you do. There's a whole cadre of African American women, Kiana Shanklin, who's on our board, and others like that, who now works for they call her Madam Mary, and I've been corrected by her staff to not refer to her in their presence as my daughter or Mary, and I told them, get a life. Okay, I mean, she's my daughter, and I'm gonna call her Mary. You know, she calls me dad. Do you tell her to call me first dad? Ed?
Yes. First of all, I want to correct what people may consider a Freudian slip when you said you were elected by your siblings. The people need to understand that union members all consider themselves family.
Yes.
So when you make the reference to siblings, you're talking about your union family.
Yes.
Brothers and
absolutely.
sisters.
Right.
Yes, brothers
Right.
and sisters.
So and my question to you is, and I know it's a problem today because of the lowering of union membership. Could you please let the people know how important what the union has done for the average worker, and what the importance is going into the future?
So it's been my personal experience. I've worked in a non-union shop, and before I got to Detroit Axle, I was in a non-union facility. And I can honestly tell you, being in a union facility has afforded me the opportunity to care for my family, my mom, my sisters, my son, just care for my family, period, because the standard of living has gone up when your
Sure.
paycheck goes up.
Yeah.
And where I came from, they kept the paycheck very, very low. Our wages were extremely low. We didn't have anyone fighting for us. So as soon as I moved over into Chrysler, I noticed a great big difference. The paycheck was different. The ability to actually have a voice was incredible, because where I came from, you didn't have a voice. You did what they told you to do. But at a union facility, you have your contract, which is your voice. And that's something else I did. When I went to that local union on my second day, they gave me that contract book and I read it.
Yeah. So,
And
you know,
have
my dad did, after he retired, he was an arbitrator for the UAW. So Kelsey Hayes, he had certain ones that he was responsible for. And it all boiled down to those rights, to those things that are a part of your contract, right? As a young man coming out of high school, Ed, you remember anybody could go to any factory,
Right.
and get a job, and there would be, I'll never work. I worked at Chevrolet the year I graduated from high school, in the foundry, and my dad purposely put me in the foundry over on St. Albans and Denton, making I-beam suspensions that were 137.5 pounds. Put them in that furnace, heat them up. And my last day, I never forget, Margaret. He was standing over there, with his, hands. He said, "You like this work?" I said, "Man, it's some hard work." He said, "Well, your granddaddy had 50 years, and this is where I started." And he said, I'm gonna pay for you to go to school, and as long as you don't get anybody pregnant, you're fine. But if you do quit school, you got to come and get a job in the foundry." I had great appreciation, and this was, by the way, with union imposition.
Yeah.
But my grandfather started when they didn't have. This is my point. Didn't have the union that regulated work rules. And I think people miss that today. They don't, what do the unions do except take my money? They have no idea the protections, right? Can you talk about that?
So I used to be the health and safety rep at the Chrysler facility when I was at Detroit Axle. And when I tell you, I was able to use the OSHA rules in order to protect the people. I was able to use those rules. And then later on, we moved over to the Marysville Axle plant in Marysville, Michigan. Well, we were successful in getting that company. We were in a brand new building now, mind you. You would think it's a brand new building, they wouldn't have any safety issues. They had tons of safety issues. So many so that we were able to get them into the SVEP program. And the SVEP program is the Severe Violators Enforcement Program. And they didn't want to do right. They didn't care about taking care of the members, but I did. So I made sure we got them where they needed to be in terms of being in compliance with the rules.
Yeah, so it's slightly different day, but workers still need protection
Absolutely.
by unions.
Yes.
Can you speak to that for 1 second? Because people think, that corporations are, they're different. I mean, corporate people are trying to, promote their bottom line and,
So let me say this. It's also been my experience that management, they don't give you the bonuses that we get. They don't give you the holiday pay. They don't give you a lot of the benefits that we have out of the kindness of their heart.
right.
They do it because a union is there forcing their hand, letting them know that this is what the people deserve. You're making this amount of money as a business. Surely you can take this amount of money and incorporate it into the building or give it to the people, share the wealth, share that pie.
Yeah.
So that's why unions are important.
Yeah, and it's all negotiated in a part of the contract, and then the union is there post-contract to make certain that it's enforced.
Absolutely.
Sabrina, Athena.
Yes, listening to all of this, I'm of a different generation. So coming back to Detroit from leaving Detroit and doing other things, I'm learning so much. I never had a job in the plant. And so within the unions now, are there still non-union facilities, and why in the world? It in my mind, it just doesn't make sense. Like if I'm going into a job, like what kind of abuse is happening in the non-union facilities versus the union facilities in this day and age?
Well, in this day and age, if you're in a non-union facility, the first thing you'll find is that your wages are extremely low. You'll find that the benefits, if you have any, you may have to pay for your own health care. Or if there is a structure in place for health care, because there may not even be one, you'll find that you are at the mercy of whatever management wants to do. And in a union facility, the union protects you. I mean, I know a lot of people think that, oh, my union doesn't do this, my union doesn't do that. But then the majority of people, they understand the benefit of belonging to a union.
But why would you go work for a company that does not offer you benefits for your work?
Well, let me just chime in real quick. What you need to understand is that the percentage of union shops or union workers in the workforce has been decreasing. It's been a steady assault because employers don't want to have to honor, collective bargaining agreements. So what is it, like 20% now of the whole workforce unionized? Maybe less than that.
Yeah, you might be right. I'm not.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
sure on
but the
those
number
numbers.
has shrunk,
Now,
not
that's true.
swollen.
Yes.
Because precisely this, that the unions represent workers. You can't run roughshod over them. And I know because I talk to Margaret about this sometimes. I have people that I know that have lost their jobs. And I have to call the UAW and say, what's going on, and get them to get more involved in this, because sometimes even the workers don't understand what rights they have.
Correct.
So it's a very important thing, and people who don't think unions are important probably don't think blood is either.
And,
Yeah.
and
Ed?
Yeah, and like yourself, I during the summer worked at Ford's.
Yeah.
In the engine plant doing
Okay.
connecting rods, and you made reference to OSHA and safety regulations. I was lucky enough to have a machine that shut off automatically when I didn't have the safety, when I had the safety switch engaged, because my finger got caught in the machinery, and I took my foot off to activate the safety, and that stopped the machine right then.
Right.
And people don't understand how many lives or limbs have been lost because no safety equipment was involved in that equipment. And could you really emphasize how important the union was in getting those safety regulations enforced?
So when I was at the Marysville Axle plant, because it was a brand new facility, there were a lot of safety issues that management just didn't want to address. Something as simple as running a cord across the floor, which would create a trip hazard. They didn't want to remove the cord, but the safety of the people in terms of the machines, because I used to be a machine operator. Although we had brand new equipment, there were still issues with some of the machines in there. And I was at work on one Saturday when a young lady lost the tip of her finger
Yeah.
because of a lack of proper training. And that
Yeah.
was not the training, but a lack of proper equipment. And that was something that also was counted against that particular facility with OSHA. And that's what got
Yeah.
part of what got them into SDUP.
So we have 5 minutes left. Couple things. One is, what have been some of the challenges you faced? Number two, I know your union, and we appreciate that, as Abdul's campaign staff comes in, has endorsed him for
Yes.
the U.S. Senate. So talk about your challenges, where you're headed, and then of course the UAW's endorsement.
So some of the challenges that I've had as the Secretary Treasurer of the UAW is being only the second woman to have served in this role. And I
Who was
stand
the first? What was her name?
Elizabeth Bunn.
Yes.
Yes, she was the very first. She's a wonderful person.
Right.
But I stand between them being the president's side and the $2 billion. And everybody wants that money, and there are rules, processes, and procedures in place. And
Right.
fortunately, I'm there to say, hey, we have to adhere to the rules, processes, and
Right.
procedures.
So
because
the
if I
challenge
wasn't-
is they want the money, but you won't just give them the money if it's not in accordance with the rules.
Absolutely.
Which then means they see you,
As
in
a
an
threat.
adverse way.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm just trying
And
to
you're there
protect
to
the member.
protect the integrity of the finances of that union, which is what my son, who is a dues paying member, right, out of the Flat Rock plant, would want you to do.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm there to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, when you keep doing it, no matter what the boogeyman says.
Right.
You know
They're
what-
doing it well.
You know what they say? They can't ride your back if it's not bent.
There you go. And they also say no lie lasts forever.
That's true too.
The truth crushed, the earth will rise again. All right, and then how did you guys come to support Abdul, and why?
So it was actually a democratic process.
Okay.
There's a board that sits together, made up of various different members from across the sectors in Michigan. And we came together, we interviewed the candidates, and he came out on top.
Okay.
Yeah, he's good. He's
Yeah.
good.
Well, we're giving the UAW an opportunity to redeem itself, because sometimes it's been wrong. They weren't right in the mayor's race, but maybe they'll be right in the Senate race. Let me be quiet on that one. But and you know me, because I've talked
Yeah.
to you. I mean, I talked to Sean Fain directly. I got his cell phone number, and when I'm not happy, and I'm not a UAW member, but I am a UAW supporter.
Is that wrong with
Absolutely,
that?
you are.
And my family, my grandfather came in 1919, went to work in the foundry in 1921.
Wow.
And had 50 years, and said he didn't and didn't miss a day. I mean, in 50 years, and people who worked with him, Margaret, prior to the union,
Mhm.
would come home in that foundry, eat dinner, and die.
Mm.
Almost all of them had black lung disease as a result of the smut and the filth in those unions. So I mean, I feel like I have something to say about the UAW.
You
Solidarity forever,
Absolutely.
and the unions will make us strong.
Absolutely. And Madam Mayor,
Yes, yeah.
she's very supportive of the union.
Absolutely, and we're supportive of you. That's why we have her here. There will be an opportunity at some point for some further ascendancy. I'm not saying it, but to go from working in the plant to overseeing the plants and protecting the workers in the plants sounds like a great story to me.
Right.
She shall not be mocked.
Thank you for that one. I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. And we appreciate the support. She always is doing things to
Yes.
help us here. Dabo is a pro-union enterprise. We've worked very close with Fight for 15 and, Detroit Action and all those entities that continue to protect not only the rights of workers, but also to expand the coverage of workers through trade union representation. I want to invite you by to come and have some biscuits, grits, and salmon croquettes. Brother Abdul El Sayed is on his way here, and I want him to win so he can teach some of these black folks that the same hands that pick cotton ought to pick our own leaders. We'll be right back after this.
You've been listening to
All right, let's take some pictures.
Hey, here's the wake-up call with Reverend Horace Sheffield. Rise up, wake up, let the truth be told. The wake-up call.
Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey reminding you that the gubernatorial primary is Tuesday, August 4th. We'll nominate candidates for governor, U.S. Congress, and other state and local offices. Return your absentee ballot right away by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. You may also vote on Election Day at your polling place. To learn more, call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Your future is in your hands.
Everyone loves Wednesday Jazzy Nights at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. July 29th, live in concert, it's PJ Morton with Jay Brown.
Just a matter of time.
Then August 5th, it's jazz violinist Damian Escobar with Kayla Waters. Tickets on sale now. Available at Ticketmaster.com in the Aretha box office. Presented by Chase.
Hello, I'm Reverend Horace Sheffield. My friend Dr. John Lippman has spent the last 30 years helping women suffering from fibroids. I've seen his passion for this work firsthand at his center in Atlanta. Now, Dr. Lippman and Dr. Philip Adler are bringing that mission to Detroit through EMOJ Fibroid Centers offering uterine fibroid embolization, or UFE, a proven non-surgical option to treat fibroids. Call 248-793-5249 or visit emojfibroidcenters.com to learn more.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your man Mike Epps, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Sheffield. Make sure you get yours.
I'm Hester Wheeler, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 101.5 FM or 1500 a.m. The wake-up call with Reverend Horace Sheffield.
This is Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey reminding you that the gubernatorial primary is Tuesday, August 4th. Return your absentee ballot right away by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. Vote at any of our early vote centers from July 25th through August 2nd, or vote on Election Day at your polling place. To learn more, call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Your future is in your hands.
You've been listening to
Here's the wake-up call with Reverend Horace.
All right, let's make some noise in the house. Where y'all at?
Let the truth be told. The wake-up call.
Y'all stand up and make some movement up in here. Y'all disobedient. Stand up. Lead him, Cedric. Go. All right, listen, I understand Samantha Myrick is in the house. Samantha, this is her daughter, is a long-time activist. Introduced her to Margaret Mock, who's the Secretary of Treasury. Secretary of Treasury, UAW's here today. Margaret, where are you, Margaret? Come over and say hi to Abdul. And Samantha was involved in the founding of Dabo and worked with my dad, so we're so glad to have her here. And I'm going to tell you, daughter, I didn't even know she was still alive. Isn't that good news? How old is she? 94 years old. Wow.
Hanging in.
Do your read real quick.
Yep, let's do it.
Keep it right in front of you.
So, Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey reminding you that the gubernatorial primary is Tuesday, August 4th, and your vote matters now more than ever. Return your absentee ballot right away by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. Vote at any early voting center July 25th through August 2nd, Or vote on election day at your polling place, and you can ride the D-Dot buses to the polls for free. To learn more, call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Our future is in your hands.
All right. She came up to give me a hug, and that's wonderful. So we have the next U.S. Senator from the state of Michigan, Abdul El-Sayed. Give him a big hand, y'all. And man, I watch all the stuff that's going on. I see, and I do case analysis, right? I mean, I see African American leaders who are more beholden to other interests than ours. I mean, I'm just going to be real, and it bothers me. I mean, it took some time for me to get where I am, but I know I'm in the right place. And I actually asked God last night, Lord, help this man win so these other folk will have to line up in the way that they should. So, I mean, how do you feel about seeing this? I mean, you ought to be in heart. You're like David with 5 smooth stones right now. You about to slay Goliath,
Well, Rev, I'll tell you this. I'm just grateful to be here. You know this. My grandmother never got to go to school. She raised her 6 kids of 8 to whom she gave birth in Egypt. Okay. And I used to spend a lot of my summers with her appreciating what I had. Now, the crazy thing for me was this. I would go 15 hours to Egypt. I'd go 15 minutes from where I grew up, and there are places that look more like Egypt than look like the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
And fixing that, right? Asking America to be America for all of her children, that's the work. And now look, there's a lot of money people who want to keep America looking like it looks. They want to keep making sure that some kids don't have good schools, some kids don't get to have health care. They want to keep sending your money somewhere else to go kill other people's kids rather than keep it here to build your kid's school or give your kid health care. I know what I'm about and what I'm fighting for. More importantly, the people in the state of Michigan know what I'm about and what I'm fighting for.
Yeah. And by the way, let me just interrupt, and I'm going to keep moving. I mean, there's a great song in our tradition by the Shy-Lights called Have You Seen Her, right? Mm-hmm. That's the question we ought to be asking. I hope y'all listening to me, because the person who is also running has never been seen. I mean, all of a sudden she's with us. These are things she wants to do, but that's not been true prior to this. So it's no secret that I endorse him. I think he's our best hope to be able to really kind of level the playing ground, to make certain that all this money that are benefiting other people, which by the way come from us, we pay income tax,
right,
also is helping everyday working class people, right? The working poor, some federal domestic relief. Ed, you're next.
Yes, and a lot of people don't know this, but you captained a few teams when you was in high school, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I played football, I wrestled, and I played lacrosse, and I was the captain of all those teams.
Well, I recognize that, and why I want to make that point is that you've been a leader amongst your peers most of your adult life. Mm-hmm. And that's a necessary trait in someone who we want to represent us, is somebody who's a leader and not a follower. You can chase after the money, being a follower, or you can create your own path to greatness. So, in saying that, and I'm going to ask this question because your opponent really doesn't want to answer this. How much PAC money is involved with your campaign?
Oof. So you've had $60 million brought to you by the likes of APAC, Big Pharma, Big Tech, Blue Cross Blue Shield, DTE, flowing into ads, either to tell you the falsehood that my opponent was endorsed by President Obama, or to come after my character. And they lost the argument when they start going after your character. Mm-hmm. Trying to use an article that I wrote about the First Lady's Let's Move campaign, saying there were some really good things about it, but some things that I think could improve, to make an argument that somehow I'm disrespectful to women.
Right.
And I just got to say, as the son of a mother who was the first tenured professor of engineering at her university where she was a professor, the husband of a doctor who's definitely smarter than me, the father of 2 daughters, right? I find that offensive. But here's the bigger question. Why is all that money coming in here? $60 million doesn't fall off trees. Mm-mm. $60 million only comes in because there's a pro quo that follows that quid. Mm-hmm. And you already saw it 2 weeks ago. My opponent, while she's in Congress, voted to send $3.3 billion of your tax dollars to a foreign government rather than to keep it here to invest in your schools. And Rev, you say it perfectly. It's our money.
Spend it on
us. Yeah, yeah.
You take a look at the schools in a neighborhood like this. You You take a look at the roads and you ask yourself, oh, there's not a better use for $3.3 billion. You want to give it to a foreign government
Absolutely.
where they, by the way,
Yeah.
have universal health care
Yeah.
and tuition-free education.
Yeah.
And that's the best we could do.
Yeah.
I've been serving these communities for the better part of 10 years. I was Detroit's health director, rebuilt the health department after bankruptcy. I bet if we did a show of hands, who here was born in Herman Kiefer? There's always one. There's always one. Right? When they shut it down back in 2012, right? I was hired to rebuild it in 2015. Rev, you and I worked together when I was in Wayne County, doing things like putting glasses on kids, taking on corporate polluters, making sure that we took on the scourge of medical debt. And that's work servicing our communities, using our money here. But here's the crazy thing. Whenever you come up with a program like that, you know what they say to you? Doctor, how you going to pay for that? I don't know. You know what they never ask a general who wants to send your tax dollars to go bomb somewhere else? General, how you going to pay for that? And I think it's time for us to have a U.S. senator who's going to ask that question to the general.
No question.
Wasting our money over there.
And some equity in terms of expenditures. Let me just get to the Vice President Harris piece. This is me speaking, because I had several conversations with some African American women and men this week about that ad. And you know, I finally told them, I said, you didn't support her. You didn't vote for her. You campaigned against her. This brother has clearly indicated that he did support her. So that's just a new question. You know, and you're right. When they don't have nothing else, man, they, you know, your hair is too straight. Your beard is too long.
I cannot stand those ads because they're not giving any enrichment to the information that is necessary to make an informed decision about who you want to vote for. They're just saying, well, this person, you shouldn't like them for this or that. And meeting you last time, you were the first time, and I just got into politic talk. So thanks for welcoming me, but you were incredibly pleasant. And well-spoken and had really good answers. So I can appreciate you coming back.
Well, the question is, are you going to vote for him now?
Well,
yeah. If you either vote for him or you leave.
I have questions. No, I got questions because that's me. I want to know. And another question that's on our sheet. We're talking about your Democratic opponent. Let's talk about some of the Republican candidates that see themselves in quote unquote good shape if you are to make it to the next round. So he's saying that Western and Northern Michigan are a lock for him. What is your response to that?
You should drive up to Western and Northern Michigan and take a look at whose yard signs are up. They're not Mike Rogers, not Haley Stevens. They're all Abdul. And it's always funny. People from Southeast Michigan will drive up and they'll be like, oh my God, I was in Manistee. I was in Oscoda. And your yard signs are everywhere. I didn't even know they could say your name up there. I'm like, yeah, it turns out when you build your campaign brick by brick, I don't do it the lazy way. I've never done anything the lazy way. So we started our campaign back in April of 2025, going to towns big and towns small. Sometimes speaking to 5 people, sometimes speaking to 50 people, sometimes speaking to 500 people. But I'll tell you this, people recognize a politics that is bigger than the folks who are buying off the politicians on both sides. Because I'm going to ask you this. Blue Cross Blue Shield is supporting both Haley Stevens and Mike Rogers. So you know who wins if either of them win?
They do.
DTE supporting both Mike Rogers and Haley Stevens. So you know who wins? They do. Now ask yourself who loses when they win. We do.
Right.
Who do you think pays for that?
Right.
When they raise our premiums 15%, we pay for that. When they raise our rates faster in Michigan than they did in 46 other states at DTE, when the wind blows and then you lose your power for 5 days, we pay for that.
Yeah.
And the system gets bought off by both sides. So here's the thing. You asked me about the Republican, Mike Rogers. This guy spent his time in Congress to raise prescription drug prices. He helped to architect the opioid epidemic. Then he moved to Florida, made $14 million he can't account for. Who better to beat him than a doctor who rebuilt the health department in the city of Detroit, eliminated medical debt to the tune of up to $700 million and put Narcan in 100 locations for free. I'm looking forward to telling that story. Here's the thing about Democrats, though. We're afraid of our own shadow. We're always like, oh, let's just run the perfect campaign and then they can't attack us on anything. No, it turns out that the way you win is to go and take the fight to them. And I think we need Democrats who got some courage to take the fight to them.
Yeah.
And Rev, you brought up the vice president. You don't have to believe me. The vice president just last week said she thanked us for her support for the fact that I endorsed her back in 2024.
Right.
I was one of the first Arab and Muslim leaders to endorse her. Because you know what? I was serving Wayne County at the time, and I knew that Donald Trump will be worse from the eyes of a child in Detroit and from the eyes of a child in Gaza.
There's no question you've been with us. And by the way, I have to get this in. I called John James because after that last debate and the minimization of him and what his family did, his father and my dad were friends. You know, his dad was on a different ledger. You know, he was a Democrat. He supported people. And to suggest somehow or another that what his father did was DEI and somebody gave it to him. That is absolutely untrue. His father started with nothing and worked his way up. And I just, it's like, so the racism and the vitriol against people who are non-white males, right? It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. They just don't like you, period. So how are you feeling right now about this race? I mean, this barrage of commercials and, I mean, I'll take Martha Scott over Kinlock, by the way, but go
You and me both. Some people have been with us since, the 70s.
Yeah.
Been fighting since the 70s.
Yep.
The commissioner has been a long friend of mine, and I worked very closely with her on a lot of those incredible programs that we launched in Wayne County. Look, I feel really good. And I don't just feel good because, that's what every politician is going to walk in here and tell you. I feel really good because our campaign is knocking on thousands of doors a day. And on those doors, 60% of the people we talk to say we're voting for Abdul. They can run attack ad after attack ad after attack ad as they want, but you know what you can't buy? You can't buy enthusiasm.
Yeah.
You can't buy authenticity.
And with all that they've done, the numbers have not changed much at all.
No. And it's also, it just shows you, I want you to think about this, right? The argument that is made is, well, we think the opponent would have a better chance at Mike Rogers. I don't know. Electable candidates don't need a $60 million crutch. And you think that $60 million is going to come in to the general? No. Because the only goal they have is to beat me. I'll just say this.
Right.
If you're the Democratic establishment or the Republican establishment, either way, both of them are like, he's a threat to the system, which should tell everyday people, just be like, man, if the system's been working for you, who do you think, right? If it's been working for you, great.
And why would
But
they
if it
be
hasn't
so
been-
aligned against you?
Exactly. If it hasn't been working for you, I'm just walking up here and saying, look, we got to get money out of politics, put money in your pocket, pass Medicare for all, because we've got to change the system because it hasn't been working for you. Democrat or Republican, too often the money comes out of your pocket and goes into some billionaire's pocket. That's how it ends up working. And I'm just trying to change that. I'm a doctor by training. I got no business in politics. My parents gave me a foreign name. I know all of that. But I also know that I'm done with people telling you what you can't have and shouldn't fight for. I'm done with being told what we can't do.
So this really is a quintessential moment where there's a paradigm shift, for me at least. And you're absolutely right, because I grew up in a genre through TULC and my dad where they thought that putting people in political office was the furtherance of an agenda that was attached to empowering their constituents, right? Helping us get civil rights, helping us access city jobs and all of that. And now it's a narrow self-interest of a few people who want to benefit and then convince us we ought to go the way that they're going. I mean, what happened to populist politics?
And Rev, you're right. Politics should work for all of us.
Right.
I'm a proud Democrat. I just want my party to be better.
Right.
I don't want to be playing games with DTE and Blue Cross Blue Shield. I don't want to be saying I'm for human rights and watching our tax dollars go and kill other people. At some point, as a party, we got to get right and say, just because we're Democrats doesn't mean we're always right. I want my party to be right.
Yeah.
Which means that you've got to take on the systems that too often steer us into wrong. Greed exists on both sides.
Yeah.
And they're using both parties. I mean, the best way to win is to be on both sides, and you win either way. That's what DTE figured out. That's what Blue Cross figured out.
And I'm gonna pass you, but here's the other thing is that you're absolutely right that we get in the corner and they try to rope a dope, but we do nothing about it. I'm tired of us taking the higher road, right? When they stole the road. Go ahead.
Road less traveled. This $60 million is a whole lot of money. It could feed a lot of people. It could fix a lot of things. There's a lot. And I love this.
And they wouldn't give it for that though, but go ahead.
And that's the point, right? And it's our money, spend it on us. So Ed got
y'all
into
like
this
my
a little
theme,
bit.
don't you? It's our money spending on us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. So Ed got into this a little bit. I need to understand. I know campaigns are very expensive, and you can ask everybody in here for $1. It would not equal 60 million. How are you competitive without the PAC money?
Yeah. Well, ask yourself what that money does. It buys a whole bunch of 30-second ads that aren't that compelling. And look, the last time I watched TV, I didn't stick around for the commercials. That's the part you don't want to watch. So what they're doing is buying 30-second commercials. What we're doing is going out and talking to people face to face. We want to see their eyes and talk about what we could do. And then we also realize that we can come here and have conversations here. When you believe in your message, it doesn't take that much of the truth to defeat a lot of falsehood. So for us, we just got to put that truth anywhere and everywhere we can. And when people hear that truth and they realize, oh, wait a second, that man told me he's against the man trying to take my money. And here comes the man with all this money trying to convince me otherwise. He must be telling the truth. So that's what people are seeing. I had this young woman come up to me. She said, you know, I first saw those ads and I was like, there's no way I could vote for him. And then I saw it again and again and again. And I kept getting curious. I'm like, who's got so much money to run this ad against this man and why? And then she was like, I realized who was funding it. I did some Googling and I realized this was paid for by a group that wants to send our money to a foreign government. And I was like, oh, I get it. It's because he actually wants to keep my money here that they're lying on him.
Yeah.
And I think more and more people are starting to see the truth simply because, you know, the way evil works is they just try and drill you with something and they know they're wrong. So they just got to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. I just think it's evil when people try to take your money and send it to kill other people. I think it's evil when people tell you you can't have healthcare. I think it's evil when people tell you can't have a good school because somebody else needs a bomb. I just don't believe.
And I think
kind of
it's
politics.
evil when you package yourself one way, but it's really something different. Now, real quickly, I want you to know that these are the people who, when we said we're upset with Whitsett, no Whitsett for us, whipped her with Denzel McCampbell. Denzel ran his campaign out of here. We did digital ads. We did all of that. And it's so much so that she decided not to run for re-election. So I want you to look at these people out here because they didn't even know, by the way, that Karen Whitsett spent 76% of her time taking care of a dog and let us be dogged. But they know that I support you, and I want you to speak to them so they can go. A little yeast leaveneth the whole loaf. What you say and tell people, making 5-10 phone calls yourself can make a difference in this election.
Yes. Well, first of all, thank you. And I'm grateful to have the councilman's support. Councilwoman Campbell is one of our first early endorsers. We have an opportunity in this race. The question is the money versus the many. Do we want a politics of the people, by the people, and for the people, or of the corporations, by the special interests, and for the billionaires? That really is the question. And I know right now people feel frustrated. They feel like DC doesn't work for them. And I'm going to be one U.S. senator out of 100, but you at least deserve one U.S. senator who's going to go and fight the power of corporations who get to nickel and dime you at every term because they paid off every single person who gets elected. $60 million doesn't come from nowhere. It comes because you've made a commitment to do the thing that they want done. And the thing that they want done is to figure out how to monetize your life, take more money from you just so that you can afford your electricity or afford your healthcare or buy some groceries, trying to make that more expensive so they make more money off of you. I'm running to get money out of politics, to put money in your pocket, to stand with unions like the UAW, the AFT, and the national nurses who've endorsed us, to take on the power of corrupt corporations, to tax billionaires' their wealth, to keep our money here at home, and to guarantee healthcare through Medicare for all. The difference couldn't be more stark, but we rely on everyday people doing that work. I don't ask big corporations to buy me ads. I ask everyday people to step up into our democracy to empower us to do the work.
And what is so compelling here is that this is a major shift, right? This is, and by the way, you don't know my history, but I actually, along with Michael Harrington, who wrote the Of America, helped form the Democratic Social Organizing Committee of America. And when I was in New York, D-side, I was the youth chair, national youth chair, created a Democratic agenda. We worked within the Democratic Party, Cornel West, or Rosemary Ruther. I can name the folks who are part of crafting that. So this is a seat change. This is really, I think, as was my dad's caucus in the UAW, calling them to embrace civil rights, and because the union didn't even allow for blacks to be on the board. This is how we shape the party, and then the party shapes the nation. And so this whole notion of who's electable and all of that, he just said it. It's about the many, not the money.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's
Y'all
a
gonna
really
vote
good
for
one.
him? Come on, make some noise. There you go. I know Cedric can tell everybody.
From here to Wyoming, my goodness, down the street. So national polls have Democratic Socialist candidates in the lead over MAGA candidates, which is something we love to know about. But do you think that we'll be able to maintain this momentum going in through November?
Well, look, I'll tell you this.
Are you a Democratic Socialist?
I'm not.
Right, there you go.
I'm
Let's start right there.
Right, I'm a scientist. So I want solutions that work. But I'll also tell you this. People really want candidates that actually show up for them and not the corporations who buy their votes.
Yeah.
I think that's the fundamental difference. Because here's the thing about MAGA, I'll tell you. They're corporate bought, but at least they'll show up and tell you. Then the frustration is like, well, how come we can't beat them? Well, Democrats are corporate bought, but we won't tell you about it. I just want a Democratic Party that can actually say, hey, listen, I don't take money from those corporations. Here's the contrast. Either on one side, you get MAGA, who's trying to take your money straight in your face, or you get us who are trying to fight them and fight for working people. That's it. I want to be able to tell that story. And right now, our party's having this internal struggle. Do we want to keep taking money from the same people who MAGA takes money from? Or do we want to take money from good people,
Yeah.
$5, $10?
And the
at a
money
time?
is an issue because they have influence. They're not giving you money
No.
because they like you. They're giving you money because they want you to advance their cause. And I think what you're saying is, if you take corporate money now, those are the people who have priority, right?
Right.
And precedence over who your priority is about. Right?
I mean, that's the thing, is that like they give you that money, they run those ads, and then when you get into office, then they come with their laws that they want you to pass and say, all right, here it is. And guess what happens to you? You end up paying more for the consequences.
And it's an interesting thing because I've done some work with pharma lately. We've not always been on the same page, 340B. Which, and their interest in 340B is because it's taking money away from, and if it wasn't a bothersome in that regard, they wouldn't even be worried about being on our side about making prescription drugs more affordable. You got 1 minute again.
Yeah.
We've got millions of folks listening to you all over the state of Michigan. We go all the way up to the Mackinac Bridge. Tell them why they should vote for you again.
Again, this is the choice between the money and the many. I'm a candidate who wants to get money out of politics. I've never taken a dime from a corporation to run a campaign. I'm the one who's getting hit by $60 million of spending, brought to you by APAC, Big Pharma, Big Tech, folks who want to put a data center in your backyard, and several Trump donors who are the biggest donors to some of the super PACs that are feeding you those ads. I'm a doctor by training, rebuilt Detroit's health department, led Wayne County's health department. We put glasses on kids, eliminated medical debt, put Narcan in vending machines for free. We need a politics of the people, by the people, and for the people. That means that we got to get the corporations out of the way, and we got to stand with the folks who ought to be the center of our politics. If I'm elected, I want to guarantee you health care. I want to stand with a union. I want to tax billionaires their wealth, and I want to make sure that corporations can't buy politicians anymore. If you want to get involved, go to abdulforsenate.com. Hope to see you out there. And vote
and
on August 4th.
I'm dubbing you as the wedge. Listen, y'all, Abdul is the wedge between passing the buck and red tape. He'll get it done. All right, let's take a break.
You've been listening to
Here's the wake up call with
This is Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey reminding you that a gubernatorial primary is scheduled for Tuesday, August the 4th. We will be nominating candidates for offices of governor, U.S. Senate, U.S. House, and other state and local offices. If you're voting by absentee, return your ballot right away by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. Early voting begins Saturday, July 25th through Sunday, August 2nd, at any of our 8 early vote centers from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You may also vote on Election Day at your polling place from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And join us at our Get Out to Vote Block Party on July 25th at 2978 West Grand Boulevard from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to kick off early voting. For more information, visit detroitmi.gov/elections or call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Your future is in your hands.
Everyone loves Wednesday Jazzy Nights at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. July 29th, live in concert, it's PJ Morton with Jay Brown.
just a matter of time.
Then August 5th, it's jazz violinist Damian Escobar with Kayla Waters. Tickets on sale now. Available at Ticketmaster.com in the Aretha box office. Presented by Chase.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your man Mike Epps, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Sheffield. Make sure you get yours.
I'm Hester Wheeler, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up call from Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 101.5 FM or 1500 AM, The Wake Up Call with Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Hello, I'm Reverend Horace Sheffield. My friend Dr. John Lippman has spent the last 30 years helping women suffering from fibroids. I've seen his passion for this work firsthand at his center in Atlanta. Now, Dr. Lippman and Dr. Philip Adler are bringing that mission to Detroit through EMOJ Fibroid Centers offering uterine fibroid embolization, or UFE, a proven non-surgical option to treat fibroids. Call 248-793-5249 or visit emojfibroidcenters.com to learn more.
You've been listening to
Hey, 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 here's the wake up call. With Reverend Horace Sheffield. Rise up, wake up, let the truth be told. The wake up call. Hey, 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 it's the wake up call.
Good morning, man. Look at all that energy. What's up, Doc Scott? Oh man, there's a lot of energy going on. That intro song is bumping. I'm gonna get you up man. This is Black Man Brian Berry back with another episode of Manifest Wellness with my brother from another.
Yes, indeed.
You've been on a sabbatical lately. How you been?
I don't know, man. Y'all thought y'all had gave me my eviction notice, man.
We did not give you no eviction notice. You did some absentee on, didn't show up for Christmas type stuff for us. You know how I did? We thought we was getting the gift. Got the Scott was like, no, I'm out. I went for a pack of smokes and a loaf of bread, and I ain't never come back.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Good to be back, though. Good to be back.
Yeah, how was I heard you had a last month around this time, I heard you had a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, we did. Actually, we always had our annual Cruise with the Q's weekend. I forgot to mention that I belong to the greatest fraternity.
No. We said a Q weekend. We said a Q weekend.
Just saying. So, yeah, it turned out really nice. Actually, in full transparency, better than I anticipated because next week I'm headed to Cincinnati for Grand Conclave. Exactly. Yeah. So actually, it's the largest in our history, in our over 100-year history. We have over 10,000 brothers registered. Yeah. From my understanding, there's 4,000 AKAs in Texas right now.
Yeah, they've been all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but that's crazy. Cincinnati, I don't be able to hold on. I went to school down there. I don't know where they're gonna stay.
I'm not gonna go on the radio. I'll tell you my sentiments on the logistics regarding that. I don't think they got the bandwidth.
No, they don't.
I don't think they got the bandwidth either.
I'm sorry, Dave. You said what? Oh, okay, you was talking to us there. Yeah, no, they don't. Like, I went to school down there, and I'm like, it's a convention city, but that's 10,000 at once. Yeah. Now, here's the other part about it, because it's not really a nightlife city.
No.
Where they gonna put y'all at when it's time to?
We got plenty of events planned.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, but it's just again.
Yeah,
the bandwidth.
Yeah, then that's just y'all, and people gonna want to come and hang.
Ain't no question. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So you're talking about just the other overflow.
But on the flip side, Cincinnati need a dose of culture like that.
Well, they are gonna get it, and they're gonna get their coffers filled. Believe that. Bro's coming to spend money. So
yeah. So when we was we definitely going to get in that topic because you put it out there like we were talking about this being National Minority Mental Health Month, and that's a real broad topic. And you really went into it. And if I can understand it, without having to read it again, you were saying that you want to talk about the mental health life cycle of young men versus young women and BIPOCs, right? Mm-hmm. And what that looks like from the cradle to the grave. Did I paraphrase that?
No, that's spot on. Yeah, that is spot on. And I think that right now, mental health has obviously been at the forefront in our society for a lot of reasons, and justifiably so. And with that, I think sometimes we can make the terrible mistake of conflating mental health into just a seminal singular moment because of an event that happens. Like we'll read the newspaper,
right,
and we'll look at the circumstances surrounding that, and people are quick to say, well, they had
health issues.
The narrative when it comes to certain demographics, it's always
wait a minute, somebody has the alarm going off If you can catch your alarm. Okay, thank you very much. I thought I was like, wait a minute.
I heard it too. I thought I hope I wasn't being called home. Come to the pearly gates. So some we confuse. We label mental health when the situations. Certain populations will use that as a buffer or as a way to minimize the circumstances. So they'll say, well, they had mental health issues, this, that, and the third. And I just want people to understand when we talk about mental health, it is a process. It is a intentional, concerted effort. So when I brought the topic for today's discussion, I think it is just so important for individuals to understand, especially in our community, especially in our culture. And I'm going to take a deep dive into this and probably go into some areas that most people would never have even thought about exploring in mental health, because once we peel the layers of this topic back, Brother Barry, you'll find out that mental health literally starts in utero. Our mental health actually starts before preconception. And that's why they tell you to talk to your child, read to your child, while the mother's carrying that child. And another caveat that I want to put out there before we even get started, and I just want to give our Black women their flowers, because Black women have always been at the forefront of being the mental health catalyst in all the households. They've always been the one who's always had to hold things together in the Black household. They have been literally the straw that stirs the drink when it comes to mental health. So,
and you're speaking of since
our
traumatic American experience, or you speaking?
I'm talking
before,
about literally when we got on the boat.
Okay, gotcha.
Since we stepped on the colonialized soil.
Yep.
They have been the ones.
Do you think it was more of a forced thing because they try to root out that protector person amongst our group?
Absolutely. I'm gonna go back.
All right. I'm sorry.
No. Because you made that statement, then I'm going to now interject what I mean when I said that I'm gonna go into some things that most people won't look at when it comes to mental health. So when we take that transatlantic diasporic ship, that journey over here, and we know about how they made slaves, buck breaking, and all that type of thing. So we could start there, but I want to start from the maternal side of it. Carrying a child and then having that child stripped from you and sold into slavery. So when we talk about mental health looks very different. First of all, it's stages of mental health. When you're in as a young man, and I was just on a call with this, and it goes back to our physical health as well. Think about this. Most men, if they're not engaged in athletics or school, when they have to get a physical to go to school, they don't engage in any type of proactive healthcare services.
That's true.
Until an issue shows up.
That's true.
So Black men literally can go decades without getting a checkup of any kind, of any sort, opposed to our women who are always going to get screenings, whether it be mammograms, pap smears, things of that nature.
Yeah.
They're always more health. In fact, a man will not go see the doctor until, or a man is, yeah, that's true. A man will not go see a doctor until his mother or his spouse or partner or significant.
Or the pain is just so excruciating.
Exactly. But we won't go on our own.
That's true.
Oftentimes we will go to the doctor at the vehement behest, because again, a female will order us to go.
So thank you very much. So again, talking about that timeline, right? And really trying to, get, because you coming with these topics, and I'm really like, okay, this is where I'm going to grow. This is the only time that I would say this to a Q. This is where I'm going to grow. But it's good though, you know what I'm saying? You're very nice, brother. But anyhow, do you think that has to do with this? It's almost like a seesaw.
Mhm.
It's this macho
Absolutely.
that we're supposed to have. And in some aspect, when I'm reading it, it's like, okay, the macho is degenerative to everything we're trying to do. But then there's this converse side that says, well, if you have to have something to hold on when every day you're forced to participate in a system that does not include you. And when you become conscious of that, you'll know that the system unconsciously and consciously, affects you. Like, right now we're sitting here talking, doing this, but there's somebody somewhere that we'll never know trying to make a law that's going to affect your grandkids. I don't have grandkids. You're my grandkids. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you have to have some code of armor when you step outside that door, because you're right. You walk into your home, and that's why sometimes we have these bad mental health situations, because you have, not putting on anybody, you have homes that are not stable. You have guys that can't handle something went wrong with their lady. Their lady then took a stance against them, and now they just lost. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this. It almost feels like this dog chase tail scenario that we're in. Like you can't be so macho that you're not humble, you're not on a level enough to listen to proper advice. Go see about yourself. Be a little softer.
Absolutely.
But if you're too soft
Mhm.
in this world as we exist now, you're going to get eaten alive.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some validity to that, and I think you make a very great point when we talk about that, because from the mental health aspect, I look at it from a bifurcated perspective, and it also can be looked at from a much more even multiplied or multifaceted tertiary perspective. And what do I mean by that? When I say bifurcated, I mean specifically that you can have some mental health challenges that are brought upon or finds its nascence through genetics. What do I mean by that? Schizophrenia, depression, having strong suicidal ideations, hearing voices. Those things are genetically based.
Yes.
So our DNA, our DNA has manifested. We have brought that in just from both our parents, or from a parent, or both our parents may have given us that. I also believe that it is environmental, to the point that you just made about, we know that there's somebody that's trying to pass a law that will affect our grandkids. So let's talk about, and I'll use this as my anchor to talk about mental health, to your point that you brought out so profoundly. Let's talk about the elephant in the room that's going on right now with the Nolan Wells case, right? Everybody.
We're gonna go there. Okay.
No, we're not. I'm just for contextual.
Okay, is that right there? Yeah.
And this is what I mean by environmental mental health challenges. If in our culture, even if we never had an intimate interaction with Nolan Wells, that story has impacted us because we know vicariously that could happen to any one of our sons, nephews, cousins, church members, any one of us. That's a possibility. So when I hear individuals, and this is where I'm going with this, because there are a lot of individuals, I can't call his name, but there's an individual at Duke University that talks about, when we talk about that trauma is not transgenerational, which is the most asinine thing in the world. To me, studies have proven that trauma is transgenerational.
Yeah.
Their counter argument is that it does not infect the epigenetic DNA of the sequence. Well, that's a lie.
Because it's in your blood. When that one incident happens to you, it's like a mark in your a brand in your blood already that you go ahead, brother.
We have, first of all, you have proven that there's been studies on the survivors. To your point, the grandchildren of Holocaust survivors. are still able to feel that trauma. It is still passed down to them. They've had studies on the severe hunger, the Trail of Fears. There's a numerous studies that give validity to that. So when a person tells me that we are not still feeling both the physiological and psychological reverberations of the transatlantic slave trade, you're not well informed, other than the fact that you should choose to be either ignorant or biased in that. Because, and again, I would never marginalize any one culture's history, but other than the indigenous people here, there is not a group of individuals that have set foot on this planet that have survived and endured the most heinous atrocity against humanity, and that was the transatlantic slave trade.
And it never been rectified. Probably.
Absolutely not.
Every culture besides Native Americans.
Except Native Americans.
And no, but well, they got land.
They got,
but still.
I'm talking about
yes.
due reparations.
Mm-hmm.
And and for this country who just only this year, when the UN voted,
we talking about that too.
voted to deem it as the greatest travesty, crime against humanity. The United States was one of 3 countries who voted no.
So it was what, us, Argentina, and was it Israel?
I can't remember which. I can't remember the third one. So when we talk about that, so I thought it was very important to understand that mental health is not a cookie cutter. When we talk about mental health, and this is what I really want to understand, there is a diametrically opposed difference between mental health when it comes to females opposed to when it comes to men. And the reason being is because the Black woman has always dealt with a whole host of other issues. Being raped, treated as property, always deemed less than, much significant lower pay in their jobs and things of that nature. So whereas on the male side, I'm just being from just the social, the things that we deal with every day we leave here, being stereotyped, being
young women I'm dealing with now. My daughter just turned 14, but she started developing the last 3-4 years, and now I have to, going through the apartment building. I feel myself on guard every time because I see her being sexualized, from afar, just the gaze from afar, and and catching guys and looking at us. So now every time I'm tensed up every time I'm walking in the house because I'm grimming from if they don't look like they her age, anybody, and it's older men and young men. It's just,
my oldest heathen just graduated from high school. She's about to go out, and I'm about to have, she has my second oldest heathen, and she's right beneath her. So I'm going to have this real grown conversation with them because it has to be given to them. But I think just going back also that when we talk about mental health and people, I really want people to understand that mental health can show up very early on, or being engaged in good mental health. And what do you mean by that? I mean, just your children having a good sense of who they are, a sense of value, just good positive affirmations that they instill. Let's face it, everybody ain't got the same resources.
No, not at all.
So we understand, and people need to understand this, that we have no idea what some children leave from and what they go to, period. For some of these children, schools and classrooms are the most safest havens that they have. So if your nurturing environment is full of chaos, upheaval, financial duress, food insecurities, and other things that are associated with that, being not access to the internet, the digital divide, as they call it. So all these things come into effect when we're talking about your mental health. And as we get older, it changes because your mental health from 19 or from 20 to 30 is going to look much different in your 40s and 50s.
And so and it was when you were saying, I was thinking about that, and you kind of got to that. So how does it not become just this compounded, it's already compounded problem, whatever? Because access is not even remotely talked about on at the level where access is supposed to grow with you, and you're supposed to get have choices of getting better access as you're saying, as you're getting older, because your needs change. But from the onset, it's not like you said, only the safe haven is the schools. Schools are stressed out. Schools don't have a Dr. Scott. They're lucky to have them at one volunteering time. I know you say you volunteer time at a school. I heard you say that before, but it's not like that's something where you're at all the time. So how's it not just become, I don't want to be a pessimist, but this problem with no answer? Because it seems like you would need access. You would need great qualified people at every elementary school going through, with a school systems that foster that culture, that put that paramount. And that doesn't seem to be a reality. And, it's like you don't seek out the help until you've been traumatized a few times over. And now this trauma is now seeking out your pores, and you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you get to that point?
Yeah. And there is no, I don't want to say a quick fix, but I do want to stress this, that there are a lot of, again, what we call upstream implementations that I feel that could greatly minimize the impact of mental health getting to that very critical stage. Even in our best scenario, we're not going to have the number of adequate practitioners. The need is greater than the demand and accessibility.
Right.
But I do believe that there are some things that we can do that needs to be almost, I don't want to say mandated, but I can't think of another adjective that would be as apropos. And the reason why I say that is because when we look back on the COVID pandemic, what COVID showed us is that during those years of social distancing, when we had to stay away, that's when we saw a monolithic uptick in mental health issues.
Yeah.
Because people couldn't socialize, they couldn't get outside, there was no sense of community, people lost loved ones and couldn't say goodbye properly. And so that exacerbated, like a volcanic tsunami. It ignited a very incendiary dynamic takeoff of mental health, not just in the Black community.
Everywhere.
I'm talking about globally.
Yeah.
So what can we do? I truly believe that people need to learn how to, number one, self-soothe themselves. What do I mean? To recenter and reground. Deep breathing, relaxation, positive self-affirmations, positive self-talk. These are upstream things that you and I can do that you don't have to have a certified clinician in the classroom. You can do this thing. You could take 5 minutes out the day with your class and practice this. Deep breathing, relaxation. And then another great utilization that we could implement among our young people and young adults is peers. Give them a space where they can sit down and discuss this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times And even as we get older into our adult years, our mental health, one of the tricks of mental health at times is to tell you that you're the only one experienced this, that you're by yourself. And that can be, and that's definitely not true.
It reminds me of the Bible verse. Maybe you can, I should look it up on my phone, but you will probably know the book and the verse. But it says, if I'm working for you, you're working for Dave, Dave working for that sister working for me, who was hurting. You know what I'm saying? It's saying, and I got to find the actual book and the verse.
Yeah.
But it's just saying that if you have community and community is there, you're for each other and you're not totally self-invested, then okay. I got you.
Absolutely. And to your point, even in James, it tells us that we should bear the burdens, of our sister and brothers, that we should never, and when we have, as a community, we have been always a very supportive environment to rally around individuals. And I think that the reason, to your point earlier you made, well, how come, what can we do to do this? We can look at a very administrative look at why.
Yeah.
That this exists. But just look at what has, even in our schools, if we want to start there, look at what has been removed. We're not even going to talk about the recent ridiculous destruction and denigration of things that they're trying to eliminate. But we had things. Understand that our children are much more advanced than we are.
100%.
Much more advanced at an early age.
Yeah.
So when you take away shop,
institutional,
electronics, things of that nature, tactile learning, visual learning, auditory learning, these kids, the traditional classroom setting is almost doing our children a disservice.
And put it full circle there because I mean I love your mind, brother, because we were talking about trauma and how we look at things, and not looking at like trauma, someone did something, hit me, called me out my name, trauma, and I'm looking at what my future looks disparate because while you saying they took away the vocational training, classic debate, Booker T. Washington versus W.B. Du Bois, they really took away both. They totally took away your vocational options, and we're going to dumb down your intellectual options. So you're saying like these young people are advanced and they see things and they're like, well, I see all of this. I'm in a time when my city is going through massive construction. Mm-hmm. We just built a $6 billion. Well, we didn't count. Just built a $6 billion bridge. You see, every street has cones on it, but you rarely see a brother or a sister
on those crews.
You'll see them holding the signs. You'll see them holding, but you won't see them on the scaffolding. I haven't rarely. I see all these water main breaks, and I haven't seen, I'm not saying they aren't there, but by and large, I haven't seen any brothers or sisters coming out of the ground fixing these pipes. You understand what I'm saying? All these home constructions going on everywhere, everybody getting their house redone. I don't know many. There are some. I do know some, but not in mass and large. A lot of black general contractors getting employed to do, and then you see you don't have the next generation, we have this training center that's right around the corner.
That's what I was about to say. Yep, absolutely. And I got to give Mary Watts her shout out because she does. I'm talking about.
She sees it.
Absolutely,
she sees it.
She's always advocating and trying to get people enrolled.
But we're not putting the plane. We can't put the plane there. No. We cannot, because that's saying, hey, I see this need. I'm going to open this up for you. But how do we, like you said, this ignite this fire? Mm-hmm. Because it has to come from inside out first to do it. No one gets up and tells us to brush our teeth, put our clothes on right way, nothing like that. That is innate. It has to come from a demand. Because I know when I was in high school, when I went to Redford, young ladies or whoever, it was mostly the sisters. You can come out of that school and you can have a cosmetology license once you graduated.
Absolutely.
downstairs during the athletic ring in the corner of the athletic wing, you had a full shop.
Yeah.
So you knew how to
Yeah.
pull an engine, do
Absolutely.
a transmission by the
Absolutely.
time you got to the,
Absolutely.
11th grade, or you hopped on a bus and you went to become a chef, or
Absolutely.
I think they still have
barber schools.
yeah,
all
yeah,
that.
and those are closing. So it's like it's almost institutional that these things are being ripped out of our community, and so I know the conscious young person may see this and it's like, well, technology is a new hub, but we don't really have a digital, like we don't have an expansive hub for the young people. That now, shout out to Tech Town. I know they're doing great things there. But y'all, we already at the break already. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna finish this conversation and we'll come back to you in a second, bro, with with your question. And so, okay, we got a little bit more time. But anyhow, thanks, Dave. But yeah, it's for a young person, it seems kind of like the same time you have access, but you don't. All right. So let's finish this topic on the next side on the other side of this break. You'll listen to the Manifest Wellness Show.
Yeah. Hey, 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 here's the wake up call. Ooh, ooh, with Reverend Horace Sheffield. Rise up, wake up, let the truth be told.
Janice Winfrey, reminding you that the gubernatorial primary is Tuesday, August 4th. We'll nominate candidates for governor, U.S. Congress, and other state and local offices. Return your absentee ballot right away by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. You may also vote on Election Day at your polling place. To learn more, call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Your future is in your hands.
Everyone loves Wednesday Jazzy Nights at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. July 29th, live in concert, it's PJ Morton with Jay Brown.
Just a matter of time.
Then August 5th, it's jazz violinist Damian Escobar with Kayla Waters. Tickets on sale now. Available at Ticketmaster.com in the Aretha box office. Presented by Chase.
Hello, I'm Reverend Horace Sheffield. My friend Dr. John Lippman has spent the last 30 years helping women suffering from fibroids. I've seen his passion for this work firsthand at his center in Atlanta. Now, Dr. Lippman and Dr. Philip Adler are bringing that mission to Detroit through EMOJ Fibroid Centers offering uterine fibroid embolization, or UFE, a proven non-surgical option to treat fibroids. Call 248-793-5249 or visit emojfibroidcenters.com to learn more.
Yo, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Randy Rosario, comedian and TV host. I get my Saturday wake-up call with my guy, Reverend Horace Sheffield. Think about it. Good day.
I'm Sheriff Raphael Washington, Wayne County, and I get my Saturday morning wake-up every Saturday morning from Reverend Horace Sheffield, and you should too.
Every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 101.5 FM or 1500 a.m. The Wake Up Call with the Reverend Horace Sheffield.
You've been listening to
Yeah. Hey, 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 here's the wake up call. Ooh, ooh, with Reverend Horace Sheffield. Rise up, wake up.
Hey.
Let the truth be told.
Yeah, we're back with it. We're back. You're on the second half of the Manifest Wellness Show. You are tuning in with the illustrious Dr. Scott. That's a good man. And I'm your brother, Brian Berry, here. And we're talking about mental health along, the lifespan of BIPOCs and, how it looks different for males and females from what Doc said, from utero to death. And that's a lot. I definitely I concur with that. Just one child helped raise all my brothers and sisters. But I do remember when my child, when Marilyn was carrying our child, that there was a lot. We did make sure she listened to certain music. couldn't have, we need to try not to have a lot of loud conversations whenever there were disagreements or anything like that. And, I can really understand that now. But one question that I did have for you is, how does bias play into that? Because we're talking about institutional things, like if you know that our schools haven't been equipped so that our young people don't get the skills, aren't exposed to, or have limited access to the things that will make them into very, contributing, upstanding adults, or just express their creative, whatever they have in them, right? They already have this frustration. How does that translate into healthcare? Because like you said, there are, but we can't just name 100 Dr. Scotts without just looking at them and say, oh, those, if you want to go, there's a building, there's 100 Dr. Scotts, and and you can go and get the help that you want from somebody who understands, so it's like, and I hate tonight. So for all those clinicians out there, no matter, your ethnicity, now forgive me, but it's like you have to go to the enemy for your remedy. How does that work?
I don't know if
they're not the enemy, but you understand what I'm saying? But it's the same institution that you have to be educated about, that is stripping stuff from you. You have to go to that on the clinical side too.
Right. Absolutely. And you make a great point. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, because here's the thing. I can't tell you how many times that I'll go speak at an event, and I'll have a mother or a grandmother or an aunt or someone to come up to me and say, hey, can you counsel or mentor my son, grandson, nephew? I think that they would benefit from that. And for full transparency, there's only 4%, or roughly, of Black males who are psychiatrists or licensed professional counselors and practitioners. So there's not a lot of us. And I always tell people that, listen, I know you may want a Black therapist, Black male therapist. I want a Black female therapist. And I say, I understand that. And I give them this scenario. If you were in the middle of a lake and you can't swim and you were drowning, would it matter to you what color the person was who threw you the life preserver?
No, it does not.
Absolutely not.
That's very good. Thank you for saying that. That's a very good point.
Absolutely not. So, and I always tell this to myself, being in this work, you can't pick and choose who you help. Everybody that needs help may not look like you. So what do? Do you give them less of your profession? This I'm talking to by myself. Do you give them less of your professional self because they don't look like you? Absolutely not. I truly believe that it is incumbent upon every living human being to make someone else's life better for having met us. I truly believe that. I believe that we have an inherent duty as people to transform somebody's life for the better. It doesn't have to be just global, but just having met you, to pour something into someone, to give them a skill, a validation that you have poured into someone, and they are better for having met you. You don't have to be a clinician or a psychiatrist for that. This is something that is innate and indigenous and germane to us as a people. We couldn't have got through slavery.
But you said it. But see, that kind of dynamism comes from us. I haven't seen that type of dynamic. This is my experience, And so I can speak for everybody, and I know that there's some, and I hope someone comes and knocks me off my feet. But I'm just saying, but
I want to make sure I put this caveat in too. Don't get me wrong. We didn't have our fair share, Clarence Thomas's and Candace Owens's and Byron Dang. We didn't have plus from day one. Ain't no question from day one. So they ain't like they just showing up. Ain't like they just show. We've had those as well.
Yeah.
So they've always been there. So to your point, I just think that as we, I think as a culture, I think we are really understanding that this whole, okay, let's face it. When I was growing up, when we saw people who had mental health challenges, we would hide them.
Yeah, yep. We put Unc in the room.
Ain't no question. We would hide them.
Yeah, put Unc in the room.
We would hide.
Oh, that's crazy, Auntie. Don't pay no mind.
Absolutely. So mental illness ain't nothing new. I mean, this ain't. I really be tripping off people who we've dealt with mental illness forever. Exactly, absolutely, for a long time. And again, I'm going to go back to the forefront that I have to tell you that our Black women have been at the forefront of this mental health issue since day one.
Yeah. Well,
right. Yeah. And this is another thing, and I tell men all the time that the reason why it is so important to understand mental health at an early age is because when it gets to the adulthood, you will work backwards and find out, well, this problem existed when he was in the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. He was doing this, she was doing this back then. So these things are not, again, we're not oblivious to this. We might not have had the language for it to describe it, but we knew Pookie and Ray Ray and Laquan and them acted crazy when they couldn't get a toy. We knew Pookie, Ray Ray, and them acted crazy when I took their iPad away from them.
But see, this is where I'm getting to. This is the institutional part. We know this, right? We recognize this. Before you was Dr. Scott, you recognize this as an intelligent human being, as an intelligent man. And these conversations are being had with other, parents, other women who see this, families see this with a young person growing up. The institutional part that I'm talking about, or, this where we don't like this bias or access is for it may, we may have parented or treated that young man different versus that
absolutely
the young boy way more, which only exacerbated what was going on with them. The schools may, you may have this same little Aspen across 8 Mile exhibit the same behavior as DeAndre, but DeAndre got tracked, got put in special ed, got suspended, in school suspension, held back. But Aspen was say, hey, we need you got your son needs to go and talk to, and so these are the same people. Aspen's parent is probably some kind of administrator or something in below 8 Mile, but above 8 Mile, they go, you understand what I'm saying? So there's the bias, there's the institutional, because there's someone at Lansing who decides what the curriculum is going to be, that knows that there needs to be a team of Dr. Scott's, or we need to reach out to the Wayne State School of Psychology or whatever, and we need to have them rotating around our schools, but nothing happens. We just say we're going to put a police mini station in there and Officer Grimes is going to go deal with it. You understand what I'm talking about?
I do. And I want to, because you're making two very great points. I want to start with your first one. Okay. When you talked about that, and I'm gonna give our listening audience and our in-studio audience this pearl. I was doing a training a couple months ago. And in that training, a young lady who didn't look like me or my sisters or my, said something so profound that I'm almost embarrassed to say it. But when she said it was so profound for me, personally and professionally, that I made sure I put it in my toolbox. And the statement she made was this: all behavior is communication. All behavior is communication. I don't care. Now, it may not be the right communication. You understand what I'm saying?
But I'm acting out because you can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because on the flip side, if you dig deeper to that, if all behavior is communication, that individual, again, another individual that I work with, and one of her favorite sayings is, they're just trying to get their needs met.
We're gonna stop right there. We in our last segment already, man. All right, so we're gonna see you on the other side of the break. This conversation, you can't solve it in 1 hour, but we're trying to tackle as much of it to get us informed. So see you on the other side of the break at Manifest Wellness Show.
You've been listening to
Here's the wake up call with Reverend Horace Sheffield.
Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey reminding you that the gubernatorial primary is Tuesday, August 4th. We'll nominate candidates for governor, U.S. Congress, and other state and local offices. Return your absentee ballot right away by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. You may also vote on Election Day at your polling place. To learn more, call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Your future is in your hands.
Everyone loves Wednesday Jazzy Nights at the Aretha Franklin Amphitheater. July 29th, live in concert, it's PJ Morton with Jay Brown.
Just a matter of time.
Then August 5th, it's jazz violinist Damian Escobar with Kayla Waters. Tickets on sale now. Available at Ticketmaster.com in the Aretha box office. Presented by Chase.
Hello, I'm Reverend Horace Sheffield. My friend Dr. John Lippman has spent the last 30 years helping women suffering from fibroids. I've seen his passion for this work firsthand at his center in Atlanta. Now, Dr. Lippman and Dr. Philip Adler are bringing that mission to Detroit through EMOJ Fibroid Centers offering uterine fibroid embolization, or UFE, a proven non-surgical option to treat fibroids. Call 248-793-5249 or visit emojfibroidcenters.com to learn more.
This is Detroit City Clerk Janice Winfrey reminding you that a gubernatorial primary is scheduled for Tuesday, August the 4th. We will be nominating candidates for offices of governor, U.S. Senate, U.S. House, and other state and local offices. If you're voting by absentee, return your ballot right away by mail, drop box, or at the Department of Elections. Early voting begins Saturday, July 25th through Sunday, August 2nd at any of our 8 early vote centers from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You may also vote on Election Day at your polling place from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And join us at our Get Out to Vote block party on July 25th at 2978 West Grand Boulevard from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. to kick off early voting. For more information, visit detroitmi.gov/elections or call 313-876-VOTE. Let your voice be heard and vote. Your future is in your hands.
You've been listening to
Here's the wake up call.
All right, we're back. Let's get used to this time. We only got maybe 10 minutes left in this show, man. You're listening to the Manifest Wellness Show. We've been getting into it. We haven't even asked callers to call in. If you do have a comment, call in 313-340-9507. We get so into these topics and it's so engrossing to me that
Give them that number again.
313-340-9507. You come in, call in with your comments or anything like that. We're talking about mental health amongst the lifespans of young BIPOC male and females and what that looks like, and trying to peel back as many layers as we can. If Doc Scott, please, if you can remember exactly where you are, I know we talk about you were right in the middle of a good one.
Yeah, no. You had made I addressed the first one about all behavior is communication, but you gave a scenario about how we'll do this to this person and nothing like that. So when we talk about, I laughed because it may reminded me again of a funny story growing up as a child. So I have a twin sister, right?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. And of course, obviously, she was my grandfather's
favorite.
Ain't no question. Ain't no question. Ain't no question. You know, and I remember one time I had did something and my mother was giving me a whooping. And I mean, she was giving it to me too. I'm talking about that good old fashioned.
Yeah.
And so I was in the room screaming, you know, hollering. So my grandfather busted in the room, right? And when he saw it was me instead of my sister, he just closed the door.
Wow, that said a lot. It was like a moment of relief. I'm saved. It was like, oh no, it's worse than before.
So the point I'm trying to make is that you're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to take that same, take that same child, if you would, who has now abandonment issues, okay? Or had even, you know, grew up in a physical environment, all right? Now, as they get older and mature, stay with me, y'all. The same child, I'm gonna just use the male. You can either one. The same. I'm gonna give you both scenarios at the same. I'm gonna give them to you both contemporaneously. So take a little boy, little girl, same household. They grew up in a physical household. Attachment issues. What do I mean by that? Let's say that the father wasn't there. Okay, because I grew up without my father. Growing up without a father, again, this is going to be mental health that has nothing to do with genetics. Growing up without a father impacts the male much different than it attaches the female. So now as they matriculate through those formative years, for the male, I don't have anyone to show me, to validate me as a man, to talk to me about the changes in my body, to talk to me about how to love and nurture a person right, how to do these things. So as I get older, I have never seen it, so I cannot, the Bible tells me we cannot model what we don't possess. Now take that same thing from a little girl. She has never been tied on her knee from her daddy. She has never been told, I love you. She has never showed that. She has not had the door open for her. So she doesn't even know what a healthy relationship looks like. Continue to stay with me. Now we go through our teen years and early adulthood, our teens and 20s, right? So now for the male, I don't know how to treat a woman. So now I'm thinking, I have, to your point, which I have objectified them. I have sexualized them. I don't know how to commit to them because I don't even know what commitment looks like because I ain't never seen it. All right. So with the female, now I need love from somebody. So now I'm just dealing with anybody who tells me I love you because I ain't never heard it, but I want it. So now I'm willing to, trade my body to hear I love you. And men will say I love you just
to get your body.
Absolutely. So now let's keep going. So now as we get into our adult years, we run into these men who don't have these bad attachment issues with women, and women who make bad, poor choices when it comes to men. Now, I'm going to give you the caveat. They ain't got to be high school dropouts, because I've seen this with professional women.
Yeah. Yeah.
They ain't got to have no degrees, because I've seen these with women who got food stamp cards and EBT cards. So it does not make a difference what your level of education is, because I'm trying to tell you, trauma shows up and it has no respect for your level of education, how much money you make, what kind of car you drive, your title, or none of that. When you have been scarred, and we are all beautifully flawed. So when you have this happen to you as a child, you carry those woundedness, those invisible wounds into your adulthood.
Yes, you do.
There are women literally in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who don't trust men, who have been hurt by men. That's why I tell people all the time, when we talk about, and I hate to say this, but if you look at it through the proper lens, this is why, and this ain't nothing new either, unfortunately. Domestic violence ain't nothing new.
No, in no culture, no.
It ain't nothing new. All that financial, mental, this is nothing new in our culture. So, and the reason why, the point I'm going to go with that, Brother Barry, is at the end of the day, when you have that little boy who been angry that his mama ain't been there since he was 8 years old, Now I'm in my 20s or 30s or 40s, and I'm with a woman who's trying to leave me.
Oh, one, I ain't got no respect for her. Two, you're not gonna leave me because I'm gonna force you to stay.
So that's why.
Because I've never, poor emotion regulation.
Ain't no emotional regulation, and I'm trying to tell you that explosive disorder is real. So that's why domestic violence is one of the most heinous crimes against Black women, because at the end of the day, when you put all that potpourri into that pot, at the end of the day, even married couples, they are not related.
No.
So the man you laid down with in the right circumstances can turn into that ninja off the street. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do 100%. I mean,
that female you laid down with, now I can turn into that beat from the. Trust me, because you are not related.
We're seeing it. We're seeing it all throughout this year. We're seeing these.
And we do not put that in the mental health cauldron. Do you understand where I'm going with this?
I do.
Mental health is such a labyrinth. The bandwidth of mental health is so expansive. We have allowed, to your point, institutions to dictate. I'm not a fan of the DSM-5. This is Statistical Manual of Diagnostic Disorders.
Yep, I know. I've seen it.
And the reason why is because it has no cultural base to it.
That the institutional part, and so is that just a lack of, like, because we don't have enough Dr. Scotts there, or is it willful ignorance to say it's not my problem to solve your cultural problems?
Well, I think an argument could be made to the latter and the former. I truly believe that because we have utilized this Eurocentric template, if you would,
for everything,
because we thought that would make us equal. And I think that now we realize, after this Project 2025, that we pushed our chips into the center of a table that never meant us to win.
Exactly.
The house don't lose.
We're forced to participate in a system that consciously and unconsciously does not include us.
Absolutely. So what happens with that? That's just going to be a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it is.
That we can't get into, because I truly believe, and I hate to say this, that even as, and the system is so nefarious, that as we succeed, your tax bracket takes you further and further and further and further and further
away from the root. Yep.
Ain't no question.
Nope.
Ain't no question. Because my frat brother, the legendary civil rights attorney, Brother Benjamin Crump, made such a profound statement the other day when he talked about the coverage of the Nolan Wells. He said, this is just as important, more important than where LeBron James gonna play next year.
It is.
But yet the news was more concerned about where LeBron James was gonna play. I know we gotta go.
Because I was straight about that. I want to add this. So this is totally up, because we're talking about trying to woman. Okay. And I'll be very quick. The trauma that I'm feeling from this, when you say this, I feel like there's an orchestrated attack on Black men.
No, there's no question. It has always been.
But it's like you see this enemy and he's trying to hide his head again. And we're saying, if you basically, like, if we get you in a situation when you're just by yourself and you're amongst us, we're going to kill you. That's what I'm hearing when I see this stuff. Oh, because you had two situations that just happened in Michigan.
Absolutely.
You know that, right?
In Michigan, no.
Yes.
I know about the young lady.
No.
I
don't even know about the young lady. So
I found her hung.
See, now that's something else. There's a brother that was from Chicago that was at this festival not too long ago. They call it a light festival, Festival of Lights, whatever. And he texted his friend, his peoples, and said, the group he was with, there were some issues. He didn't make it back. They said he hung himself. Then you had this young man right now who's a local actor named Lon Hartman, who was up in Petoskey at something called the Bliss Fest, and they tried to behead him. There are 2 Frankenstein marks on his neck, and when they try to take this man's head. And now you're telling me about a woman.
Listen, first of all, why would he be in Petoskey?
Why can't we be?
First of all,
I know why we can't, but I'm just saying.
Go Google Petoskey.
I will.
Go do Google Petoskey.
I will. So, but that's like, so that's a whole nother show, different thing. But at the end of the day, shoot, this is your wrap up. This was your baby. How would you like to wrap this up?
I would just say, first of all, just thank you all for tuning in, our in-studio audience. I appreciate you all, for those who stuck around. We can no longer be embarrassed about mental health. We can no longer be embarrassed about mental health. And do yourself a favor. Mental health needs to be as proactive about your mental health as you take your blood pressure medication and you go get your mental health checkups. That's all I can say.
All right, we'll see you next month on the Manifest Wellness Show.